Great Smoky Mountains National Park is the most visited national park in America, and it's not even close. While parks like Grand Canyon, Zion, Yellowstone, and Yosemite average just over 4 million visitors per year, the Smokies average over 12 million a year. That's 3 times more than the others. On this trip, we will explore the history, the beauty, and the storied background of this magnificent area and what led to it becoming a national park. It's 9:30 as we pull into Gatlinburg, Tennessee. 13 hours of driving and we are wiped. It's time to get some sleep as the days are long in national parks, and the Great Smoky Mountains will prove to be no different. We have chosen to stay at the Greystone Lodge in Gatlinburg, and it is a welcome sight. Check in, unpack, and settle in. 10:30 at best, we melt into the bed. In a nutshell, the Smoky Mountains were home to farming communities. Then big business came in, clear-cutting the forests and almost wiped out the area. But then a strange thing happened. The very people that nearly destroyed this area stepped in to save it, mostly as a way for their continued wealth, but hey, I'm certainly not complaining. This park is absolutely gorgeous. We relax on the way to Cades Cove and take in the beauty along the Little River. And I'm not kidding, that's actually the name of the river, the Little River. Great Smoky Mountains National Park is one of the largest protected areas in the eastern United States. The park is internationally recognized for its mountains, waterfalls, biodiversity, and forests. In addition, the park preserves multiple historical structures of the communities of settlers that farmed and called this area home. Prior to the settlers, Native Americans had likely been hunting in the Great Smoky Mountains for 14,000 years. The Cherokee controlled much of the region, and the Great Smoky Mountains lay at the center of their territory. By 1805, the Cherokee had been forced to cede control of the Smokies to the U.S. government. 30 years later, they were driven out and forced west along what is now known as the Trail of Tears to what is my home, Oklahoma. A small band of Cherokee Indians resisted and years later settled on the other side of these mountains along the Oconaluftee River in North Carolina. The Cherokees called these mountains Shikanahay, meaning place of blue smoke. These mountains are famous for the fog that often surrounds them and sits low in the valleys. Nestled between the mountains are a number of deep valleys which are known as coves. The largest and most prominent is Cades Cove, so expect long lines of traffic. Cades Cove is the most visited site in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It has numerous preserved historic buildings including log cabins, barns, and churches. It is a window back in time, showing what life was like in this part of the southern Appalachia region. Settlers arrived in the 1790s. John Mingus, who built the Mingus Mill, settled on the Oconaluftee in 1795. 5 years later, the Whaley brothers settled in what is now the Greenbrier section of the park. 5 years or so after that, William Ogle arrived in White Oak Flats, now known as Gatlinburg. His children and grandchildren spread out into the Sugarlands and Roaring Fork areas. Cades Cove was settled largely by families who had purchased lots from land speculator William Tipton. John Oliver arrived in 1818, and during this 25-year period, the Ogles, Olivers, Tiptons, and the walkers became permanent fixtures in these parts. Churches and worship were a big part of these hard-working farming communities, and many of those churches are still preserved throughout the park. Many of the original settlers' names can be seen on the headstones at these churches. As we continue along the scenic Cades Cove loop, cars begin to back up, a common occurrence for wildlife sightings. And there they are, the iPhone selfie herd. Clan? iPhone selfers? Whatever they are, they're a sight to behold. As our heart rate slows from all the excitement, we continue our journey back through time in this peaceful cove. We take this easy half-mile hike through the woods.
This is how it was back then, back in his house on the hill.
We think about how relaxing life was here back in these times. Well, minus all the hard work in the fields of chopping wood, moving boulders, planting, harvesting, and maybe a few trips out to the woodshed for a good switching. The Cable Mill Historic Area is a great place to stop, unwind, and stretch your legs. There's also a nice visitor center. We continue along the scenic loop exploring some historic cabins. After leaving Cades Cove, we stop in Townsend. It is important to understand this town's significance and how it greatly shaped the story of the Smokies. Colonel W.B. Townsend, for which the town is named, purchased 86,000 acres of land along the Little River and founded the Little River Lumber Company. He also started the Little River Railroad to transport that lumber to market. This railroad would later be used to transport tourists to the logging camp of Elkmont, which he transformed into a resort town called Daisy Town. Railroads were instrumental in the establishment and popularity of national parks, and many companies built railroads to connect tourists to parks such as Yellowstone, Grand Canyon, the Smokies, and even up in Canada. It's ironic. Colonel Townsend's logging business that nearly destroyed these lands actually became the catalyst of conservation and preservation that saved the Smokies. From sunup to sundown, it's been a long day. It's dusk as we head into Gatlinburg, and we decide to take in a little bit of the nightlife and some dinner. What a gorgeous sunset! Gatlinburg doesn't hold anything back decorating for fall. Just like the sound of water, there is no shortage of moonshine and bluegrass in the Smokies. Fanny Farkle's is a must-stop and must-eat place. Corn dogs and sausage dogs with onions and peppers. It's not a steak dinner, it's better. Probably the prettiest exit I've seen.
Well, thank you.
Nice. It's been a fantastic day with a fantastic sunset and a fantastic fall walk in Gatlinburg. You know what's even more fantastic? Our bed at the Greystone Lodge. See you in the morning. The Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail is another great area in the Smokies to view old farms. These farms are different than the ones we saw yesterday in Cades Cove. They are nestled back in the mountains and not in a flat cove. The average farm consisted of at least one barn, a spring house used for refrigeration, a smokehouse used for curing meat, a chicken coop protected chickens from predators, and a corn crib kept corn dry and protected it from rodents. Some of the more industrious farmers operated grist mills and general stores. We continue down this beautiful mountainous drive to our next stop. Looking back, it has been a spectacular day spent among the trees and the streams. We soon near the final stop on Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail. Eli's Mill is a popular stop and shows typical structures from settler days like a mill, a blacksmith shop, crafts, but the most important and most popular feature, public restrooms. To be honest, when my wife first mentioned going to the Smokies in the fall, I was a little bit depressed. I wanted to see all the lush green forests, but now I have to admit, it is quite beautiful. This is the Alpha and Omega of the Great Smoky Mountains, the place that almost destroyed it and the birthplace of its resurrection. First, the Omega. This was formerly the main logging camp at Elkmont. Colonel Townsend founded the Little River Lumber Company. He also founded the Little River Railroad to haul the lumber from the Elkmont and Tremont areas to the market. This business led to 80% of the forest being clear-cut, leaving a mere 20% of the trees in these mountains. It was devastating and nothing short of a miracle these forests survived. But now for the Alpha. Colonel Townsend reinvented Elkmont as a resort to further advance his wealth. Named Daisy Town today, Townsend began advertising Elkmont as a tourist destination in 1909. He used his logging train to bring in wealthy vacationers from Knoxville. Within a few years, the Wonderland Hotel and the Appalachia Club had been established to cater to elite Knoxvillians seeking summer mountain getaways. Beautiful setting, beautiful huge trees. In the summer of 1923, Knoxville resident Ann May Davis envisioned a national park in the Great Smoky Mountains while visiting Yellowstone National Park. Davis shared her idea with her husband, Knoxville businessman W.P. Davis, and several Appalachian Club members. Through their efforts on December 13, 1924, the Park Committee recommended the establishment of the national park in the Smokies. President Calvin Coolidge signed legislation on May 22nd of 1926, and with the financial contributions of John D. Rockefeller Jr., Great Smoky Mountains National Park was established. That's 2 out of 2 for Mr. Rockefeller Jr., Grand Teton National Park and the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. 2 breathtaking bookends. The creation of Great Smoky Mountains National Park proved much more complex than its predecessors in the West. Logging firms had to be convinced to sell lucrative lumber rights. The park commissions had to negotiate the purchase of thousands of small farms and remove entire communities. Slowly, mountain homesteaders, miners, and loggers were evicted from their land. Farms and timbering operations were abolished to establish a protected area of the park. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park was officially established by Congress on June 15, 1934. On September 2nd of 1940, President Franklin D. Roosevelt formally dedicated the park in a ceremony at the Rockefeller Memorial at Newfound Gap to a crowd of approximately 10,000 people. Look at those colors. Here we go. Look at this beauty. For those curious, Roosevelt dedicated Yellowstone at the Roosevelt Arch in Montana and at Newfound Gap, a place we will visit tomorrow. I guess he has a couple of bookends as well. The orange one. Gorgeous. The creation of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park proved much more complex than its predecessors in the West. Along with convincing logging firms to sell lucrative lumber rights, the Park Commission had to negotiate the purchase of thousands of small farms and remove entire communities. Slowly, mountain homesteaders, miners, and loggers were evicted from their land. Farms and timbering operations were abolished to establish the protected areas of the park. In spite of these difficulties, the Park Commission had completed most major land purchases by 1932. During the Great Depression, the Civilian Conservation Corps, the Works Progress Administration, and other federal organizations hired workers to build trails, fire towers, roads, and other infrastructure in the park. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park was officially established by Congress on June 15, 1934. On September 2nd of 1940, President Franklin D. Roosevelt formally dedicated the park in a ceremony at the Rockefeller Memorial at Newfound Gap to a crowd of approximately 10,000 people. Tomorrow we will visit this historical location. Great Smoky Mountain's sprawling landscape encompasses lush forests and an abundance of streams, rivers, and waterfalls. More than 100 waterfalls are located within the park, and the sounds of water are ever present throughout. The park contains some of the highest mountains in eastern North America, including Kuwohi and Mount LeConte. The Appalachia Trail passes through the center of the park on its route from Georgia to Maine. Oconaluftee, place of blue smoke. Kuwohi, which means mulberry place, is the highest of these mountains. The observation tower at the top of Kuwohi was formerly known as Clingmans Dome. It is the highest point in the park and is accessible via a half-mile trail. So the journey begins. I am struck by the crisp, cool air scented by the lush spruce and fir that grow here, like beautiful Christmas trees.
Seems like more than a half a mile to me.
Yeah, they're not counting the up. My legs turned into limp noodles as I gasped for breath. A multitude of people we passed shared this sentiment. It felt more like 5 miles up the side of Mount Everest than a paved half-mile trek. Benches along the way became an oasis of collapsed bodies, sucking wind and gulping water.
Who do you want to take a picture of you too?
Yeah, I just wanted to have time.
Can I get a picture of you and me? It's my hero.
I'm done with the bench. You want it?
No, shows weakness.
May as well admit it.
Well, how about your tombstone? He showed too much weakness.
Showed no weakness.
The tower provides a 360-degree view over the Tennessee, North Carolina, and Georgia mountains. Next stop, Newfound Gap. To my good friend Kobe, I love my new truck and I love Ford's Blue Cruise. It is fantastic, but Tesla has us beat. I stand corrected. Looks like the cameraman's got this one. Chase Anderson's driving. It was from here in 1940 President Franklin D. Roosevelt dedicated the national park. We cut our hike on the Appalachia Trail short and turn around in Pennsylvania to conserve our strength for a beautiful hike later to the Walker Sisters cabin. My wife Kimala wants to tell everybody happy fall, y'all. We make our way back through the park and stop at many of the pullouts to enjoy the beautiful scenery. When you see a large group of people standing around and pointing, be sure to stop. Great Smoky Mountains National Park is one of the largest protected areas in the eastern United States where black bears can live in wild, natural surroundings. There are approximately 1,900 bears in the park, which equals roughly 2 bears per square mile. The entrance to Little Greenbrier School as well as Walker Sisters' cabin is just this little swing gate, so be careful because you'll miss it. It's a one-lane dirt road, so be prepared to stop and back up to make room for people to pass if necessary. At the end of the road, it will be blocked and you'll see Little Greenbrier School off to the right. This is where you want to park, and then you continue by foot on up the road to Walker Sisters' cabin. The Little Greenbrier School was built in 1882 and was used as both a school and a church until 1936. Construction of the school was a community effort, and John Walker, the father of the Walker sisters, helped. It's an easy, peaceful 1-mile hike to Walker Sisters' cabin. With the creation of Great Smoky Mountains National Park, hundreds of families were asked to move out of their mountain homes. Some went willingly and others fought against it, but most families moved. A select few, including the 6 unmarried Walker sisters, received a special lifetime lease and a chance to live out the rest of their lives in the log cabin they were raised in. The Walker cabin was built in the mid-1800s, and it included a barn, corn crib, smokehouse, pig pen, apple barn, blacksmith shop, and a spring house by a flowing creek used to keep milk and butter cool. John planted orchards that included apples, peaches, cherries, and plums. Chickens, sheep, goats, and hogs were all raised on the farm. When John Walker died in 1921, the property was left to his unmarried daughters. They fed and clothed themselves, raised livestock, and maintained their mountain homestead lifestyle. 5 years later, Congress approved the park and the land was purchased from families and timber companies. Refusing to leave their mountain home, the sisters held out until eventually they received $4,750 for their land, as well as granted the right to live out their lives at their home. Living in the national park meant traditional practices such as hunting and fishing, cutting wood, and grazing livestock were now prohibited. A new lifestyle developed for the sisters. Visitors flocked to the park, and the Walkers welcomed them and began selling handmade items such as children's toys, crocheted dollies, fried apple pies, and even handwritten poems. All this hiking today and I'm starved to death. There's an awesome restaurant called Crystal Creek in Gatlinburg that you've got to go eat at. It's a beautiful setting with cascading water, fall decorations, as well as the fall trees behind the restaurant. I'm not really a social media influencer, so I'm not going to bore you with pictures of my steak, talk about how great the food is. You can Google the menu, read the reviews, and check it out for yourself. One of the reasons we chose the Greystone Lodge is the fact that it sits right alongside the river. Our first morning, although I didn't capture any video of it, there was a bear wandering right along below our deck. It's fantastic to be able to sit out in the mornings or the evenings and just listen to the water flow by. Another great reason for staying at the Greystone Lodge is the fact that you can just walk right outside from your hotel room and start walking down the main strip of Gatlinburg. And the third reason is the fact that it sits right across the street from Anakeesta, arguably the #1 attraction of Gatlinburg.
Raise it up.
Feet up.
Alright, yo, you hit that box, take out straight ahead through the open gate. Get ready, get set, go for it.
Thank you. Anakeesta spares no expense in decorating for fall. It is stunning during both day and night. The Clifftop restaurant seen here amazed us with the quality and price of the food. It was fantastic. I just like everything here at Anakeesta. You're never far from the sounds of water in the Smokies. Anakeesta is just breathtakingly gorgeous. It's quite easy to spend an entire day and night here, as you'll see later. As we wander around, I'll take a brief moment to tell you the differences between Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg and why we like Gatlinburg. Gatlinburg is like a mountain village, nestled in between in a valley. It's very serene. Pigeon Forge is in a wide open valley. It also has far more attractions and feels more like an amusement park than a little mountain village. If you're looking for fast food and places for kids, Pigeon Forge might be the place for you. However, if you're looking for something a little more laid back and relaxing, definitely go to Gatlinburg. Located at the top, Anakeesta Tower offers a 360-degree view of Mount LeConte and the Smokies. As we see a lot of fall foliage, we also see a lot of green, and we're afraid that we may have come a little too early to catch peak fall colors. Regardless of the colors, these mountain streams and forests are tough to beat. They are spectacular. After spending the morning up at Anakeesta, we head down the mountainside and into Gatlinburg for a little exploration. We continue with our exploration of Gatlinburg. The Gatlinburg Inn seen here is the actual place where the song Rocky Top was written. we head up to cross the Sky Bridge, the longest pedestrian cable bridge in North America. Halfway across is a see-through section, so be aware. The village is perhaps the most picturesque shopping area along the strip in Gatlinburg. Gatlinburg has many shops, restaurants, and attractions just like Pigeon Forge. However, Gatlinburg has that Smoky Mountain feel as well as its close proximity to the park entrance. It literally is connected to it, saving you tons of time getting into the park and back to your accommodations at the end of your day. The Smoky Mountains are really about history, hiking, and scenery, enjoying nature and the great outdoors. If you will spend more time doing these things, I recommend Gatlinburg. Pigeon Forge is like a city in a wide valley. Less rustic than Gatlinburg, it feels like a giant amusement park area with modern shopping, attractions, and a larger fast food chain selection. As evening approaches, we return to Anakeesta, and the pass we bought earlier is good all day, so you only have to pay once and go back in the evening to finish off your day. It is beautifully lit, and there is one night attraction that you can only see, of course, at night. Astra Lumina. If you're interested in seeing it, it will need to be included in your original ticket purchase, and buying it in the morning will guarantee you skip the line by being scheduled for an early slot. And trust me, as you will see, you do not want to be in one of the later time slots. They will not let you start until it is dark, so don't worry about an early time slot. Here we go. Astra Lumina is a leisurely walk on an easy trail through a modern light show. Let's take a look. Although light shows are nothing new, this one is special as it is blended with the mountains and forest canopy along a nice level hiking trail, making it a relaxing stroll through the woods at night. Speaking of late time slots, this looks like a nightmare and one heck of a wait. Time to call it a night, enjoy the ride down, and get a good night's sleep as we are bushed. We can barely stay awake. Dollywood is not cheap. About $100 a person, but that covers all rides, and Dollywood is filled with rides from roller coasters to trains to kid rides. All ages of thrill seekers will be satisfied. We also came to see the famed fall decorations and pumpkin luminites, so we will find enough to stay busy from morning to night. First, we tour an area reminiscent of the 50s. It is well thought out from the diner to the gas station and old cars. Even though it is still October, hints of Christmas are beginning to show. Next, we enter a section reminiscent of old Smoky Mountain living, complete with train and, of course, more beautiful fall decorations. We take a quick trip through the park and relax as we ride through some of the beautiful fall foliage that is finally starting to meander its way down into the valleys. If you remember one landmark in this park, it is this old grist mill. I promise you, you will never forget it. As we saw earlier in our trip, the colors start changing at the mountain peaks and work their way down to the lower elevations. I absolutely love these trees changing colors and hope for some beautiful drives and hikes on our trip. Absolutely beautiful. Time for heaven. One of the signature foods in Dollywood is the cinnamon bread. I am 64 years old and I have never had anything this good. You can buy white icing to slop on top of it, but I promise you this cinnamon bread is so good it is really not needed. The bread is absolutely amazing. As you near the mill, you will see a building to the right. This is where you place your orders, so go there first. The line and registers are in front, outside. After placing your order, go into the mill and pick up your bread. There is an eating area for your gooey cinnamon feast. This part of the park harkens back to days of old in the Smoky Mountains. There are handmade crafts and rustic buildings tucked away next to a mountain, wrapped in the gorgeous hues provided by the fall foliage. There are no shortages of roller coasters nor pumpkins. Rides for the kids, views for the adults, cinnamon bread for the moose. Moose Anderson loved Dollywood, and I believe it was money well spent. Aren't those cute? We enjoyed a fantastic dinner of Southern food here at the Front Porch Cafe. It was excellent food and I devoured it after all the walking and shopping. The park is filled with pumpkins, and at night the place is lit for what is known as the Great Pumpkin Luminites. As we stroll through, we can see how tastefully it all is done. It is hard to believe all the work and cost associated with doing something of this scale, then to turn around and switch it to Christmas in the blink of an eye. It is simply hard to imagine. It has been a long day and night, and we return to our lodge in Gatlinburg. Tomorrow, we return to Pigeon Forge and fall in the Smokies. The Apple Barn and Cider Mill is an active orchard that has been around for 50 years. They offer amazing treats and food of all types, not just apples. However, if you can imagine something with apples in it, you can bet you will find it here. From lip balm to ham, candles and home decor, ciders, juices, jams, and jellies, you name it. And don't worry, they have plain apples. There are restaurants and souvenir shops. There is even a Christmas store. Time to eat, and where else but the iconic Old Mill restaurant. Fantastic food, fantastic place to shop and mull around at. In the early 1800s, a forge was built here on the Little Pigeon River, hence the namesake Pigeon Forge. Later, a grist mill seen here. The Pottery House began production in the 1900s and is now a restaurant. Sadly, the iconic red oak in front was recently cut down. This brings us to the Island, an amusement park in Pigeon Forge. It offers rides and games for the kids as well as food, moonshine, and shopping for the adults. And don't forget, bad things happen when you drink and drive. Leaf peeping is the activity of traveling to observe and photograph the changing colors of fall foliage. It's a popular recreational activity in national parks and can be done by driving on a scenic byway or road trip, hiking in a forest, or strolling through the park. As evening approaches, we make our way back through Townsend and the park on our way to Gatlinburg. Even in the shadows, the colors are beautiful as the greens give way to the colors of yellows, oranges, and reds of fall. Tomorrow, we take a beautiful leaf peeping hike at Tremont. It appears our fears of being too early to catch the famed fall foliage of the Smokies has been laid to rest. Fall is arguably the best time to visit the Smokies due to the stunning fall foliage. The goal of fall in the Smokies is to catch the leaves at their peak, which seems tricky until you understand the term peak should be loosely defined. There is not a light switch to turn trees on or off. It is a process. That process varies from valley to valley and even section to section within the park. Some sections will be green, yellow, orange, and red. Others will be yellow, orange, red, and dead, or rather no leaves left on the tree. The actual goal should be to catch the trees at early peak rather than late peak with bare trees. Color awaits around every turn. The Smokies are on their own schedule with their own palettes, creating their own paintings. The drive along the river through the park is stunning. To get to Tremont, turn left just past the Townsend Y on the way to Cades Cove. You will cross this small bridge and immediately turn left on Tremont Road. You will follow it past the Tremont Institute, where it will become a well-maintained dirt road. Just follow it until it dead ends. There you will find parking and the trailhead. It is a beautiful hike along a peaceful river among the fall colors through what I call leaf rain, and it is a hike for all ages. We have grown to love leaf rain. It is stunning, absolutely beautiful. It is the curtain coming down on the last act of fall. The hike along Middle Prong Little River in Tremont is one of the most peaceful, beautiful hikes to see fall in all of its glory. What makes this hike great is it is a gentle slope and you can go as far as you wish and simply turn around when you are ready to return. As we take the road back through Tremont and towards Gatlinburg, we take our time and enjoy the scenic river and trees. For those of you who want to watch 10 minutes of a beautiful drive, kick back and enjoy. For those of you sick of staring at trees, feel free to skip ahead or change the channel. We head back through the park to Gatlinburg, where sadly we must pack and preload the truck. Tomorrow, we are heading across Newfound Gap to North Carolina and a day of beautiful, breathtaking waterfalls. Our drive from Gatlinburg, Tennessee to Cherokee, North Carolina across Newfound Gap is dappled in sunlight beneath the canopy of trees. We see elk, which are only found on this side of the Smokies. The colors are breathtaking. We turn into Mingus Mill, located just before the Oconaluftee Visitor Center. The mill was built in the late 1880s, so it looks more modern than others we have seen. Just like the bison jams of Yellowstone, we run into another elk jam in the Smokies. At Oconaluftee Visitor Center, we see the Mountain Farm Museum. It is a collection of structures moved here to provide a glimpse into what a typical farm was like. In 1830, President Andrew Jackson signed the Indian Removal Act, beginning the process that eventually resulted in the forced removal of all Native American tribes east of the Mississippi River to Indian Territory in present-day Oklahoma. Most of the Cherokee were removed in an event that became known as the Trail of Tears. Some Cherokees evaded removal by hiding out in an area that is now part of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. They eventually acquired land and remained here on the Oconaluftee River in Cherokee, North Carolina. Their village of Oconaluftee was situated along the Oconaluftee River near the modern Oconaluftee Visitor Center, and the only known permanent Cherokee village located within the national park's boundaries. We leave the visitor center and venture to see 4 waterfalls. Our first waterfall is Mingo Falls, located just outside of Cherokee on the northeast side. It is one of the tallest and most spectacular in the southern Appalachians. We next drive to the Mountain Water Scenic Byway in the Nantahala National Forest. And our first stop, Kuwohi Falls. Dry Falls is just the opposite of its name. It is a beautiful waterfall that you can hike down behind. It gets its name from the area behind the waterfall staying dry when the flow of the water is low.
No, yeah.
And here we go. Our final stop is Bridal Veil Falls. This is another waterfall you can walk behind. Gorgeous. After a night in Bryson City, we wind our way up over Tellico Gap on our way to the Cherohala Skyway, avoiding Tail of the Dragon as we are in a truck and not a Porsche. For those of you who know, you know. Tail of the Dragon is not for the faint of heart. It is a beautiful drive up over the gap past old barns and mountain communities. It eventually drops down along the Nantahala River. The Nantahala is one of the premier rivers in the southeastern United States for kayakers of all skill levels. Cherohala Skyway is a beautiful drive even on an overcast day. It's a great alternative to Tail of the Dragon, even though it still provides curvy roads for the sports car enthusiasts. I went a little Tail of the Dragon in my truck. My wife was less than thrilled, as you might imagine. I'd like to thank Mark V Travel for the tips on our final 2 waterfalls, as well as taking an extra day for the last leg of this trip. Eventually, we make our way north to Burgess Falls. The upper falls are beautiful. The lower falls are more dramatic and do require somewhat of a hike. After a rain, the entire face of the falls have rushing water. During times of less flow, they are still breathtaking, as is the hike. Our final stop before heading to Nashville for the night is Cummins Falls, another beautiful waterfall. Then on to Gaylord Opryland Resort for the night and one more waterfall. If you ever get a chance to stay or visit here, you won't regret it. It has 3 main atriums, each with its own unique theme, complete with trees, plants, flowers, and orchids. I reflect back to our initial question as to why Great Smoky Mountains National Park has 4 times the visitors of any national park. There is the old history of the Cherokee living in peace before being driven out along the Trail of Tears to my home state of Oklahoma. There is the middle history of mountain farm settlements. There is the new history of an industry that nearly destroyed the forests at Ground Zero in Elkmont, repurposed as the Appalachia Club, whose members rallied to have their own national park. This area is just steeped in history. It also provides endless attractions for thrill seekers and their families. And for those seeking the great outdoors, hiking, streams, trees, wildlife, all the black bears, well, the Great Smoky Mountains are unmatched for relaxing, snoozing, and barely thinking. Thanks for watching.